We spend the first half of our lives collecting things, collecting roles, collecting identities. We believe this collection makes us who we are. Then you wake up one morning, maybe at 3 a.m. with a dull ache in your back, and realize you're not a collector anymore. You're a security guard, working for free in a museum you built yourself, dedicated to a person you barely recognize. The uniform is a little tight now. The memories on display are dusty. The harsh truth isn't that your home is disorganized. It's that you've organized yourself into a cage made of your own past. You've become a curator for a life you are no longer living. And the cruelest joke of all, the door to that cage has been wide open the entire time, and you're the one standing guard, refusing to let yourself out. My God, the stubborn pride in that. Down in my basement, in a felt-lined case, sits a Minolta X700 camera I bought in 1982. It cost me a month's salary. I took it everywhere. I captured my son's first steps with that camera. The light in my wife Gloria's eyes on our trip to the coast in '88. My hands knew every dial, every click, the satisfying weight of it. Today, those same hands have a slight tremor. I can't thread the film anymore without a magnifying glass and a string of curses. The camera still works perfectly, but I don't. It sits there, a perfect machine, a monument to a man with steadier hands and sharper eyes. It's no longer a tool. It's an accusation. It whispers to me every time I see the case. You're not who you used to be. Owning it isn't the problem. The problem is the lie I tell myself that someday I'll use it again. Someday. This isn't about a camera. It's about the phantom limb of a life you once lived. The heavy toolbox for the carpenter with arthritis. The good china for dinner parties you no longer host. The business suits for a career that ended 3 years ago. Each object is a tether, a ghost of an identity that we refuse to bury, and so it haunts our present. We think holding on to these things honors our past, but it doesn't. It suffocates our future. It keeps us anchored in a harbor of what was, too afraid to sail into the open water of what is. This invisible war, fought quietly in our attics and closets, is the single greatest thief of peace in our later years. Listen closely to what I am about to tell you. I am telling you this now so that perhaps you don't have to be as foolish for as long as I was. I remember my old friend George. In 1985, George wasn't just a man. He was a force of creation. His hands were pure magic, coaxing life from blocks of wood. His 2-car garage in Springfield was his kingdom, a place that smelled of cedar shavings and fresh varnish. Every tool had its place on the pegboard, gleaming under the fluorescent lights. The hum of his table saw was the soundtrack of his neighborhood. Then, in the cold winter of '02, his wife Eleanor passed away. The humming stopped. Slowly the kingdom went dark. His kids, meaning well, would visit and suggest, "Dad, maybe we can clear some of this out." But George would plant himself at the door, a frail but immovable guard, his voice raspy. "No, I might need that for a project." We all knew there would be no more projects. The truth was, he wasn't guarding tools. He was guarding the entrance to his own heart, a place that had closed for business the day he lost her. The garage had become a tomb. Years passed. One Tuesday afternoon in late autumn, I found him in there. The air wasn't filled with the scent of sawdust anymore. It was thick with the metallic tang of rust and the damp, musty smell of things left to die. A fine gray dust coated everything, a shroud over a life's work. The cold from the concrete floor seemed to seep right into your bones. George was just sitting on a wooden stool, his back to me, staring at his workbench. His hands, once so strong and sure, rested on his knees, the knuckles swollen and twisted by arthritis. They were hands that could now barely hold a coffee mug, let alone command a power saw. His gaze was fixed on a small, half-finished birdhouse, the wood grayed and weathered by time it had spent indoors, untouched. A spider had spun a delicate, intricate web from the roof to the perch. It was the only thing that had been built in that garage in over a decade. He hadn't noticed me come in. I cleared my throat softly. He didn't startle. He just sighed, a deep, rattling sound. "I started that for Eleanor," he whispered, not turning around. "For the wrens she loved." We sat in silence for a long time before he finally confessed the truth. The words cracking like old timber. "If I get rid of the tools, it means I can never build anything for her again. It means she's really, truly gone." And there it was, the blow that knocked the wind out of me. He wasn't holding on to tools. He was holding on to the last, unfinished conversation with his wife. The day he finally let his son back the truck up to the garage, he didn't weep. He watched them load the saws and sanders, and a strange lightness came over his face. He looked me in the eye and said, "The memory wasn't in the wood, was it? It was in me." He was finally free from the crushing obligation to be the man he once was. He was just George again, and that was enough. George's garage is not unique. You probably have a room just like it, a closet, a corner of the attic. We call it clutter, but that's a polite word for what it really is. A graveyard of identities. Your home is not a container for your possessions. It is a mirror of your mind. Every box you haven't unpacked since you moved in 1998. every piece of exercise equipment gathering dust, every set of good dishes waiting for a special occasion that will never arrive. These are not just things. They are ghosts. They are the phantom of the diligent employee, the ghost of the young parent, the specter of the ambitious hobbyist. And they are terrible roommates. They don't pay rent, but they take up all the space in your head. They whisper to you at night. They remind you of all the things you were supposed to be, all the promises you made to yourself. This isn't about being tidy. It's about evicting the ghosts so you can finally hear yourself think. We are terrified of empty space. An empty shelf feels like a failure. An empty room feels like a loss. But we have it all backward. That empty space is not a void. It is an invitation. It is the blank page on which you can write the rest of your life. It is mental breathing room. When your eyes don't have to trip over the past every time you walk into a room, your mind is free to wander, to think, to create something new. Maybe a new hobby, a new friendship, or simply a new way of being still and at peace. You are not defined by the sum of your possessions. You are not your mother's heavy mahogany dresser, nor are you the report cards of your grown children. Your legacy is not the stuff you leave behind for someone else to deal with. It is the peace of mind you cultivate for yourself today. To clear a space in your home is to clear a space in your soul. It's where the person you are now finally has room to live. So here are the tools, not for building a birdhouse, but for dismantling the cage. The first is what I call the identity autopsy. Go to one place, your closet, the garage, that drawer full of junk. Pick up one object. Don't ask, will I use this? Ask, which version of me did this belong to? Was it the diligent administrator with her briefcase? The young mother with her box of school projects? The aspiring painter with her dried up tubes of oil? Look that person in the eye. Thank them for their service and tell them their shift is over. You are honoring that past self by giving their story a dignified ending, not by forcing their ghost to haunt your every waking moment. You are not erasing your history. You are making room for your future. It is a funeral of sorts, and it is necessary. Next, you must stop falling for the great lie of the 21st century, the plastic storage bin. We think buying a container solves the problem. It doesn't. It just gives our indecision a more organized-looking coffin. A problem contained is not a problem solved. It is a problem postponed for a weaker, more tired version of yourself to deal with later. The antidote to this is the one-touch rule. It is simple, but it is not easy. When you pick something up, the mail, a book, a sweater you wore yesterday, you decide its fate in that single touch. It goes to its home, into the trash, or into a donation box. That's it. Every object you put down for later is a small mental debt you place on your future self. Stop taking out loans on your own peace of mind. Pay your debts as they come. Let's talk about the heavy things. The furniture, the china, the silverware. We call them heirlooms, a word that makes them sound important and sacred. But often, they are just burdens we pass down out of guilt. So I want you to perform the heirloom burden test. It's a simple 2-step process. Step 1, pick up the phone. Step 2, call your child or your niece or whoever you think will want this thing and ask them a brutally honest question. Do you truly want my heavy mahogany dresser? Be prepared for the answer to be no. Do not take it personally. They are not rejecting you. They are rejecting the burden. Your real legacy is not your stuff. Your legacy is the wisdom you shared, the love you gave. Releasing your children from the obligation of your possessions is a final, profound act of love. It is the lightest, most valuable gift you can possibly give them. And what about the gifts you've received? The ceramic dolphin from your sister-in-law in 1995. The itchy sweater from your aunt. Your closet has become a museum of other people's affection, and you are the weary curator. Here is the secret that will set you free. The purpose of a gift is fulfilled entirely in the moment it is given and received. The joy was in the exchange, the thought, the love. You are not obligated to provide lifelong storage for that emotion. To keep an object you don't love out of guilt is to disrespect both the giver and yourself. The giver wanted to bring you a moment of happiness, not a lifetime of clutter. So, keep the memory of their love in your heart. That space is infinite. But let the object go. Thank it for the joy it brought in that one moment. And then let it go bring joy to someone else. Now for the most dangerous thief of all, the idea of someday. The box of craft supplies for someday when you'll have time. The travel guides for a trip you'll take someday. The fancy dress you'll wear someday. Someday is a liar. It's a fantasy that steals the raw, real, and precious material of today. Your life is not a dress rehearsal for someday. It is happening right now, in this breath. To combat this thief, you must start treating your well-being like your job. Schedule your decluttering. Put it on the calendar. Tuesday, 10 a.m. Appointment for my peace of mind. Just 30 minutes. You are the CEO of your own life now. Your only job is to manage your own energy and time. Make an appointment with yourself to clear out one someday project. It's a non-negotiable meeting for your own sanity. These aren't just tips for a tidy house. These are commandments for a lighter soul. They are about trading the weight of your past for the freedom of your present. So, let's do a small exercise right now. Don't just listen. Pause and look around you. Look at your desk or a shelf, or just think about the clothes hanging in your closet. Ask yourself honestly, is this thing a tool for the life I want to live now? Or is it an anchor holding me in a place I no longer belong? What is it costing you in energy and peace to keep it? I want you to tell me in the comments below. Which of these ghosts is the hardest for you to let go of? The tools from a past career? The gifts thick with guilt? The someday projects? There's no judgment here, only the shared truth of our struggle. Let's talk about it. If you do nothing, if you let this inertia win, let me paint you a picture of your future. It's not pretty, but it's honest. Your home, the one that was supposed to be your sanctuary, will slowly become your adversary. The energy required to clean and maintain it will increase just as your physical energy decreases. That hallway with boxes stacked against the wall isn't just cluttered. It's a tripping hazard waiting to steal your independence in a single brutal fall. Your world, once expansive, will begin to shrink, defined not by possibility, but by the clear paths you can navigate between the piles. You will spend the precious, non-refundable currency of your final years, not as a free citizen of your own life, but as an unpaid, stressed-out warehouse manager for things that bring you zero joy. It is a slow, quiet war of attrition against your own body and your own freedom, fought within the very walls that were meant to protect you. But the deepest cost, the one that should sit in your stomach like a stone, is not even your own. The ultimate consequence is this. One day, your children, while grieving for you, will be forced to stand in your home. They will be exhausted, and you will have left them a project, not a legacy, but a monumental, soul-crushing job. They will have to make 1,000 decisions about your life without you there to tell the stories. That teacup won't be about the afternoon you and your sister laughed until you cried. It will just be another thing in a box. Your father's heavy workbench will just be a heavy thing to be hauled away. You will have unknowingly left them the burden of your indecision. Instead of leaving them with the space to simply miss you, you will have left them with a mess to clean up. That is the true heartbreaking cost of ignorance. It's a final chore you assign to the people you love most. Someday is the most dangerous con artist I have ever met. He doesn't steal your money or your jewelry. He steals your life, one deferred moment at a time. He whispers in your ear, "Save that beautiful dress for a special occasion. Keep that good china for a worthy guest." And we believe him. We wrap our present joy in tissue paper and put it on a high shelf, waiting for a day that is somehow more valuable than today. But let me tell you a brutal truth I learned far too late. Today is the special occasion. Today is the only worthy guest you will ever have guaranteed. Time is the only currency you cannot earn back. Every minute you spend waiting for someday is a minute you have been robbed of. You are trading the solid gold of your right now for the empty promise of a future that exists only in your imagination. That china isn't waiting for a party. It's waiting for your estate sale. Use it tonight, even if you're just eating takeout. Make today the day. This thief someday leaves his fingerprints everywhere. He lives in the boxes in the attic labeled craft projects. He hides in the stack of travel books for the Italian vacation you never booked. He sleeps in the guest room you keep pristine for a visitor who never arrives. These aren't just plans, they are anchors. Each one is a physical weight, a promise made to a future self that now burdens your present self. The energy you spend moving that box to dust under it, the mental space that stack of books takes up, the pang of guilt you feel walking past that room, that is life force being drained from your today. Your vitality is a finite resource, more precious than any stock portfolio. Are you really going to spend it managing a warehouse of fantasies? That unfinished quilt isn't a symbol of future creativity. It's a monument to present procrastination. It's time to fire the manager and liquidate the assets. Your life is not a future project. It is your current, most urgent business. So enough talk. Your real homework begins now. It is not to clean a whole room. That is a marathon, and we are just learning to walk again. I want you to grab a piece of paper and a pen. Right now, pause this if you have to. On that paper, I want you to write down 3 things, just 3, that you are saving for someday. It could be that bottle of expensive wine, the good towels, that silk shirt you never wear. Next to each item, I want you to cross out the word someday and write a new deadline, this week. That's your pact. This week you will drink the wine with your dinner. You will use the fancy towel after your shower. You will wear the silk shirt to go to the grocery store. This is not about being frivolous. This is an act of rebellion. It is you telling the thief of someday that his lease is up and he is being evicted from your life, one beautiful, defiant present moment at a time. This is your first step out of the museum and into the sunlight. Now that paper is your contract with yourself. This channel is the place we come to hold each other accountable to that contract. If you are serious about this work, about learning to walk through your remaining years with lightness instead of weight, then subscribe. Think of it not as a subscription, but as a commitment you are making to your own peace of mind. A promise to stop being a security guard for your past. We are on this journey together, but your real life is not here on this screen. It is out there, waiting for you. So your final piece of homework is the most important. Turn this off. Go get that piece of paper. Go use the good china. Go live your life. the one that is happening today. I'll see you in the next one.